6 month review. Yeah, I have a 6 month review. That's my standard rhythm. I don't think it's necessary for it to be on a 6 monthly rotation, and I'm sure that there are people out there who have them more frequently than that and possibly less frequently than that. That's completely appropriate, I think, based on individual need. For me, 6 months is a really good period of time. I like to be able to review my HbA1s in particular once every 6 months, so that works for me. The people who handle the 6 monthly review are the people who are kind of closest to me from the perspective of reviewing my diabetic progress. There is actually a pre-meet that's important, which is a blood test thing that I go to the local hospital and they take some bloods a couple of weeks in advance of my appointments. And then I have a full kind of review with a diabetic specialist nurse. So that's the kind of main sesh, if you like. And then the last element is that I also check in with my GP, who kind of oversees all of my care. Again, kind of on pretty much a 6 monthly basis as well. And I just get her input into some of the other questions that maybe we haven't covered. The review is pretty comprehensive, actually. It goes into a lot of depth. There are 3 areas that get checked. So the first one is what I would call general physical health, well-being. The second one is specific diabetic physical checks. And then the third is readouts on any blood tests or other tests that you've had. So typically what happens is that you have your weight and your blood pressure checked, and that's just to see whether or not you're okay in general. Physical checks. So for me, the main ones are around my feet. So they check for kind of nerve sensation and look at the blood kind of points, so you can feel the pulse points. And then sometimes where I inject on my thighs and my tummy, they'll kind of just check that for kind of lumps and bumps and see whether or not there's anything there. So they're the kind of main physical things that happen for me. And then the third area is the blood test, which is probably actually the kind of the most telling, the most interesting. So I will have had a range of different blood tests before I turn up for my review, and they'll tell me about my liver function, my kidney function, and my blood fat profile in particular. So all key parts of your kind of the way that your system is working. And then also a really key one is the HbA1, which is the average blood sugar that you've been experiencing over a 3-month period, the amount of glycosylated hemoglobin there is in your blood, and that's a really key indicator as well of overall diabetic well-being. Do I worry about my reviews? This is quite a difficult question to answer, actually, because I don't worry, and it's certainly nothing to be worried about. The whole purpose of a review is to help, us, the diabetics who've got to look after ourselves every day, and it's to empower us, with everything we need to be able to do that. So, I don't think anyone should go into a review feeling worried or scared. At the same time, the honest answer is, yeah, I do always feel a bit worried and a bit scared. Because you never know what you're going to be hit with. You never know quite what they're going to say or what they're going to find, what you don't know about. And I think that is just a naturally, that induces a feeling of trepidation about the whole experience. And actually, I think that's probably quite healthy, because if you're feeling that way, you probably, that's a sign you care about, yourself. But no, I don't find them, they're not a walk in the park. Although they're a very straightforward experience, I think it is necessarily an engagement that makes you feel a little bit, a little bit like, you really carry a lot of accountability for what you do every day. It's important. So I think I have 2 tips, and they're both really pretty important. The first is to ask all the questions that you need to ask. I think sometimes a lot of technical stuff gets thrown at us, and it's a pretty intense kind of period of time that you're in having your review, and sometimes things just kind of get mentioned that you don't understand. And it is really important that you ask the questions that you need to. So If you don't ask them then, I would suggest you follow up afterwards and make sure that you do get the understanding that you need, because that's really key to being able to look after yourself. And the second thing for me, and this is really personal, is that I find it very important to leave the appointments feeling motivated and good about myself and how well set up I am to get through the next period. And if you're not feeling great in yourself, you've got worries, troubles, there are things getting in the way of your motivation, I think it's really important that that gets raised. Just saying, I'm struggling at the moment and this just doesn't feel like a really high priority, and that's impacting, the day-to-day, that's a really important thing to get on the table. So I would say definitely ask a lot of questions and make sure you're considering your own motivation.